Hello guys, what is up? It is your boy Prince of Voides back here with the ninth part of What If Luffy Was Yuta's Reincarnation, named Paramount War. I'm surprised I made it this far considering all the crazy stuff that I've done to my characters that I've made up. Anyway, this is gonna be fun. This is the actual war, so enjoy yourselves. This is gonna be full of action, non-stop action. So I think you will enjoy this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm just trying to gather as much as I can before I dip. Training camp is boot camp is up on November 3rd. If I haven't said that, then here it is. If I said that too much, I'm sorry. I'm just like a little bit. I'm still obviously nervous. It's freaking the Navy. I'm learning about like stuff already, like certain ways to say certain stuff, and I have to remember a whole salute and shit like that. But you know, it is what it is. Comes with the. All right. Without any further ado, let's get into the recap. We last began with Luffy killing Shalaria and Oswald and freeing the slaves they had. He went and met Zorro and killed Charlos using a lot of power. Well, actually not a lot of power, slight power, but he caused mass panic. Kizaru attacks him with Luffy then sending Zorro away while he fights the Admiral and wins in the end. Luffy is then attacked by Aokiji, who unlocks his observation haki by fighting him in that moment, just as Riley then steps in and helps. Luffy leaves the island with this crew and tells them about Ace's execution that he found out about recently and opts to give them cursed techniques since he knows that he gave it to Nami and Usopp by using his haki mixed with cursed energy, and he wants to help them get stronger. They train their powers after getting them at Boa's home by accident, and they are imprisoned there but are then free when Boa learns that she can actually trust Luffy since he killed a Celestial on a whim. She falls for him, leading to an illness, but it is resolved when she sees him again and she helps his crew head to Impel Down. They sneak in and start a massacre. They meet Buggy, stay with them for a while, then split up. They fight Magellan, his people at the Infernal Hell, and even meet the Frozen Hell, which is annoying. And Frankie makes something for them to avoid the cold. They're met by Inazuma, who takes them to New Kuma, and there they meet Eva, who begin to inspect Luffy. As Eva inspects Luffy, everyone is alerted by a scream, and the crowd of people make way for Eva to see an enraged man pointing a gun at him. I finally found you. You ruined my family, my kingdom to inherit. The man fires a cannon at the queen, when it is then instantly caught by Luffy, leaving them all shot at his strength. But this is when Luffy, for the first time ever, releases the Conqueror spirit and controls it so well that it only targets the man and rendered him unconscious and foaming at the mouth. The supreme color of haki. He has it, Eva thought. How did he do that? That guy's out cold. It wasn't explosive this time, Brooke says. Good job, Luffy. It's nothing. I've been practicing, you know. By the way, what were you gonna say? Nothing. I guess it would take a king to kill one of the Celestials. Follow me. Everyone, just keep the party going. The Strats will then follow him as they go into a new room, and they just have to ask how he made this place. Eva takes a seat, letting them know, and handing them some food, which definitely helps on their journey. He explains literally everything, which is insane how he managed to do this at all, and how they stayed hidden, and asks what they're doing here. My brother is set for execution. I need to reach him, said Luffy. Firefist Ace? What a coincidence. A real twist of fate. But then Luffy asked, do you want to break out? I can take you with me. Yeah, Luffy will help for sure, said Bon Clay. You save me? No, I'm better off down here. I know what forces are twisting the world right now. I don't need to leave. A war is going on between Whitebeard, the Marines, and of course, my friend, Dragon. Oh, you mean Luffy's dad, Chopper ass? Yes, What? With a scream, he jumps back into a wall and crashes into it. Don't talk crazy to me. Dragon has a son? You're his son? Yeah, that's the appropriate reaction, Usopp said. We were in your place a few weeks ago. I don't really know him, but it doesn't really feel that important to me. But if he was a friend of yours, then he must be a good man, Luffy said. As he slides to the floor, Even then asks Luffy where he lived, and he says the East Blue, and the realization hits Queen as he thinks back to how Dragon always looked to the east by instinct. He stands and clears his throat, and he then calls in Inazuma, who runs in now being a girl, because they can just gender bend like that. This is how it is in New Kuma. And he asks for her to look for where they're taking Ace. You're gonna help us, Luffy asks? Of course, Dragon is my comrade. And I was, and technically still am part of the revolutionaries. This is a bit surprising because he's an important figure then, and in that sense, it's pretty awesome that they managed to meet him at all. And Eva says that he has a duty to help Luffy, but he couldn't tell people what's it called? Who his father is, my bad. He can let people know that secret. And Luffy would say, I guess you're right. Thanks. So Eva declares the breakout and asks if anyone else wants to join in, but it's too abrupt and they stay for now. Thus everyone goes on ahead and rushes to the 6th floor, beating up anyone that got in their way, and Inazuma of course comes as well. Before they know it, they have reached Ace's cell, where Luffy felt a hint of Ace's presence over his observation, but now, he's gone! Damn it! As his eyes gleam red, he closes them and focuses, listening for Ace's voice, but he only hears a fading one that told him to run away. As he opens his eyes, he would then walk off, saying that they've already taken him away. Then Jinbei yells from his cell, "Are you Straw Hat Luffy, the Curse King?" "Yeah," Luffy said. Zoro then says to Sea Knight Jinbei, "I guess you don't get special treatment. I refuse to conspire against Whitebeard. I have nothing to be ashamed of, but he was indeed taken away." The elevator beside them would then explode, expelling gas that would begin to flood the room, and the surrounding prisoners are expecting the worst, but Ina's men would then use his devil fruit to cut up and fold the floor to keep the gas in where it came from. "Looks like you're having trouble there, Straw Hat." Looking into a cell, Luffy and everyone sees Crocodile, who with a smirk says that he could help if he was broken out. "Does this guy ever die?" Usopp yells. "I'm not going anywhere, Big Nose, so what do you say, Straw Hat?" "Let's get him out. His powers can help a lot," said Eva. But everyone in the Straw Hats protest, and Luffy agrees. "Besides, I can copy your curse if I feel like it." With these words, Luffy would then lift his hand as it begins to morph to sand, leaving everyone who hadn't seen this shot. And they hadn't heard much about, people, Luffy be able to copy devil fruits since they're all isolated down here. And Eva yells, "How can you copy one if you don't have one?" It would take too long to explain, Zoro said, but then them ripping Jinbei's bars cells off, leaving the fishmen and the others baffled of his strength. But we could use his help. He's with Whitebeard. Luffy then runs to the man and heals him, while Zoro would then break off his chains as Jinbei would then stand thanking him, and he finds his ability quite miraculous, and then gets ready to go, when Crocodile would then see Robin and say, "Sir, just gonna leave me, huh? After everything we've been through together? Miss us Sunday? Don't call me that." "Luffy, he'll still be useful. He would have strengths we need. What occurs next might be a war, and you don't know how to control his curse that well yet." Luffy is very well aware of this, and honestly, there's no time. He breathes in and out, whilst the Warlord's cell and rips it off its hinges, which shocks everyone again, and he holds his hand out. "What I'm doing is called a binding vow. If you break it, you only curse yourself." But the smart Crocodile will then grab his hand, saying, "Do your worst, Straw Hat." "We need to apologize to Vivi after this," Sanji said, and Luffy says that he knows, but Robin's right, and this is probably going to become a very big deal. In the following events, Crocodile is freed and cannot betray the Straw Hats, and he asks to help, which he does as everyone goes back to the top. They head to the top, and on the way, those of Newkuma are met by Eva, and they are not gonna break out, but they agree to start a riot, and Buggy has gathered even more people who do the same. The Straw Hats then spread out into groups of free people, even giants, just to cause a little bit of trouble and keep the Marines occupied. Zoro, Jinbei, and Crocodile actually end up heading out together, while Luffy beats and knocks out a bunch of Marines, and Zoro is not only at their level, but he's easily surpassing it in terms of fighting. "You want stirge or something?" Crocodile asks as they run, and Zoro would say, "Hell no, you can thank Luffy." "Can you shoot what he refers to as curses?" Jinbei asks. "Yeah, but I gave mine away for this strong body." As this, annoying ass laugh is heard, at that moment they come before Blackbeard, who was waiting for them, and he would have his crew assembled, with Zoro noticing the sickly man that Luffy healed on Jaya. "Been a while, huh?" Zoro said. "Oh, thanks to your captain, I never felt any better." "What do you want, Teach?" Jinbei asked as anger flows through his voice, and Teach with a laugh was hoping that Luffy was going to be here. But then, as he says this, something would click. All of this is happening because of this man, Zoro thought. Zoro remembers the papers about who put Ace here. That anger that Luffy has been holding in and converting into strength was so immense that he's never seen Luffy so driven. And walking forward, he tells Crocodile and Jinbei to go on ahead, and he rolls up his sleeves. "I get why Luffy always says this now. It's the only way to deal with you bastards. I'm gonna curse you." In an instant, Crocodile and Jinbei are running past the Blackbeards, with each leaving behind 2 sets of oars. "Don't die, pirate hunter. Rejoin us as fast as you can." As they're gone, the Blackbeard pirate would then burst into laughter. "You curse me? Get him." Jesus Burgess is the first to rush forward as he and Zoro would meet and grab a hold of each other's hands, and they struggle, and this forms a crater below them, leaving the pirate surprised, but Zoro would then surpass his strength and crush his hands as he violently snaps them back, breaking his wrists. "Huh? The hell?" Blackbeard thought, right as his crewmates then kicked to the sky, spewing a fountain of blood, while Zoro rushed forward, but Van Ogre fired shots, which he would then have to dodge and dodge. Meanwhile, Lafitte would then move in, using his awesome stealth, and is about to stab Zoro from the back. In the twist, however, Zoro would then disappear and appear behind him as he would twist and snap his neck, before then dashing around and killing everyone except for Blackbeard. And as Jesus Burgess falls, the pirate would then catch him and throw him into the boiling pot that was literally making everything hot in infernal hell. He is dead. An army of impel down soldiers then arrive and are left horrified by the carcasses of the now infamous pirates. He killed all of them? It's the Straw from the... Oh, god damn it, we're gonna die. Zoro would then run forward at Blackbeard, already filled with bloodlust, but The not pissed Blackbeard then creates a vortex which he then pulls in the hunter with, and he then slams into the floor before then backing up when he then hears a crack. Looking to his hand, he sees it is now left broken, and as he looks forward, his head is then taken off by Zorro, who appears behind him as his head drops and melts on the heated floor. I told you that I curse you. After doing this, Zorro then runs off as the Marines tell Magellan, who had of course survived because it's Magellan, and he was being healed, the news, and he cannot believe it, but Zorro quickly reaches Crocodile and Jinbei, and Crocodile said, "Oh, not bad. What are you talking about? Nothing happened." He gives a glare to the Crocodile, who says he's coddling his captain too much, and Zorro once again says nothing happened and he's not coddling anybody. You have good men, Straw Hat, Jinbei thought. In a matter of hours, they would then break out, leaving Impel down in a shell of what it was before it was completely ruined, but they find no ship to shore and panic, but they do find one far ahead, steal it from the Marines, and head to Navy headquarters, but another obstacle stands in their way. Aside from attacking Marines, this would be the Gates of Justice. Are you kidding me? Vaughn yells. Corner them. Even if they sink us, we don't need to win. We just need to keep them here, yell the Marines. And as they attack, Crocodile and long-range fighters such as Eva keep them away using their powers, and Eva uses his death wing. And as he unsheathes his blade, Luffy then takes to the sky and says to keep quiet. I need to focus. He explodes with cursed energy, knocking everyone to the ground as he then turns his blade black by also imbuing it with a shit ton of haki. And he yells, "Curse sovereignty." With these words, he swings with all of his strength as a delayed impact then splits the seas, and the gates in an instant are of course split as well, leaving everyone so shocked that they scream in unison. And Luffy's body, however, is overwhelmingly hurt. Cutting through animals is easy, but the gate was extremely reinforced and was also, gigantic. Thousands of layers through it. He falls to the ship, applying reverse cursed energy as quick as he can, and Jinbei is left so shot that a dazed Buggy has to tell him to just go forward because they have an opportunity now. Right, he said as he then pressed forward and the gate before them would fall. This is a sight I must never forget, he thought. Straw Hat Boy, are you alright? Eva said, and he then helps him up, with him then standing slowly saying, yep, I must have broken like 10 bones. What the hell are you, man? The criminal shout, with them all looking comically shocked and serious because this feat with the sword is insane. I just need a few minutes and I'll be back. You guys take it from here. Yeah, you just sit down. Seriously, don't get up. Running to Jinbei, Nami then tells him the shortest route. Heading that way brings a hailstorm. Are you the navigator? Yeah, I'm just hoping to keep us alive, Well, you survive Impel down. You must be able to use those curses pretty well. Nami nods. You knew Ace? We fought once. I've never met such a motivated man, or one willing to just fall asleep during most of the random times. It's quite worrying considering the situation. Yeah, let's just do our best, Nami said. Now being inspired by Luffy, whether they were a friend or foe, their ship moves forward while Luffy will be regaining his strength, and only 30 minutes pass until they reach Navy headquarters, where their ship slides the sky from a path of frozen seawater, heading into the middle of the base. As they drop into the ensuing war, they scream, catching the attention of everyone, bringing the battle to a stop right as they crash onto the icy surface. This recorded battle is of course being shown around the world, and from the smoke they all see smoke and frost, I guess you could say. They would all watch the group rise. Look, it's the Straw Pirates. Even warlords are here. Ace! I'm here to get you! From afar, seeing him here, Ace would scream with happiness and worry because, well, Luffy looks extremely tired and messed up. Yo ho ho ho! We have a lot of ground to cover. Yeah, just leave all the cutting to me. Yeah, you do that, and I'll actually do something useful. Guys, we're literally in war. Could you knock it off? I can finally show the power of Captain Usopp. Wait, is that Oars? He looks really hurt, Chopper yells. This is gonna be super! Fan out and destroy them. With these words from Luffy, they all instinctively attack, and the war restarts, and now it seems the main actor has stepped onto the stage. All those present, like the warlords, have different reactions, from love from Boa, excitement from Mihok, and so on. Garp, your family keeps interfering. Sengoku yells, Luffy, get out of here, Garp thought. So that's Ace's little brother, huh? Marcus said. Hope his crew can keep... Oh, never mind. Unleashing their techniques, the Straw Hats single-handedly changed the tide of battle, from Zorro hacking up all his enemies in a flash with brute strength and technique to Robin rendering all the Marines unable to fight at all, and this gives people time to just attack them without worry. Chopper pierces Mini and directs Luffy to Oars, who he applies reverse cursed energy to, and the giant begins to rise. Huh? He brought him back to life? I healed him, shut up, Luffy yells as he cracks the air with a punch and spreads this crack from the sky, reaching many Marines, giving them internal damage while pushing them to the sea, and the ice below them shatters. Did that brat just use my devil fruit? Wipe your ass. With everyone then being shocked to see this, but Luffy would then grab the very air around and war space, taking everyone off balance and to the skies. And he yells, "Frankie! I got it, Captain," the cyborg yells, as he then raises the cannons that he has made with his blueprint technique, and while he fires, Luffy would then release space, sending people flying to the sky while they're filled with holes. Don't be afraid. The Commodore that goes to talk about this, however, is then cut off by the roaring oars, who begins to charge forward and just massacre people, and he then sees Luffy flying beside him, and he instantly recognizes him. "Are you Monkey D. Luffy?" "Yeah, don't worry, I'll heal you as many times as you need." With these words, he drops and swings down his blade as an invisible cut will then shred enemies apart within a 30-meter radius. "Is this what you really want, to side with pirates, Jinbei?" "Answer me," yelled Sengoku. "Yes, I will resign as of now," the fishman said, with him then firing off a pillar of water. "Shall we execute them?" asked Akainu. "He can copy your fruits, so watch out," said Sengoku. Instantly, the Marines, the admirals, moved, with Akainu then coming down with a massive and fast magma punch to Luffy and oars, but Usopp would then yell, "Your attack will miss." As he looks to Usopp and the others do as well, the admiral's punch would then turn the other way and crash into other Marines. The hell? What did he do to me? Taking this chance, Oars and Luffy would then both punch Akainu as he's sent flying and slamps into a wall of the base, and as the eyes are pulled to Usopp, Marines begin to attack him, but reinforcing himself with cursed energy, he would then jump and gain wings as he would then yell, "You all feel 100 times heavier." The Marines chasing him would then fall to their faces, feeling crushed by immense pressure as a giant from behind them tries to swat at him, but Usopp would then yell, "You're not that big." As the club nears him, the giant would then instantly shrink to the size of a normal human as everyone's eyes just pop out of their sockets, and Usopp would then catch the club saying, "I'm as strong as 50 men. It's like he's bending reality. This guy's dangerous as hell. How can he even do that? The smiling Usopp would then show a prideful look as Marco flies to him, asking in a nervous tone what the hell that was, and Usopp said, "I can turn lies into truth. Pretty cool, right? It's my curse technique." "Ah, I thought only Straw Hat could do that." "Well, yeah, but then he gave us some. I mean, look at them." Looking down below, he saw the Straw Hats kicking ass, but this is when the hat that Robin was using to hide her face, because she's obviously very important, is taken off. "Hey, it's Nico Robin!" All pirates, criminals alike, turn to her, with the Straw Hats getting worried, and in the blink of an eye, Kizaru appears behind her, only to be frozen as he begins to yell in pain, and her domain of course expands doing this. "My technique allows me to expand a domain, filling you with too much information to handle, and considering how dumb you are," Robin said, "I'm figuring this is too much for you." Luffy in anger then appears back where Robin is, as he would then kick away Kizaru with a hit to the gut, and with heavy breath he would then scream, "Don't touch Robin or I'll kill you. This is a promise." A wave of Conqueror Spirit is then released as he explodes with golden light, and Rika finally forms. Many Marines fall that day, including Kizaru asleep because he was already knocked to the ground, and even as an admiral he is just completely knocked out. The executioners of Ace fall as well, and as they watch all this occur, citizens are left terrified out of their minds. This was just insane, and like that, Luffy became a little bit more dangerous, and Sengoku just couldn't hold back. "That man is a menace to our future as humans. He grew up with him, but he is not the brother of Ace." No, thought Ivankov, and Sengoku would then yell that he is the son of Dragon, the revolutionary. "What? Impossible!" "So that's why he wasn't able to recruit Ivankov," said Doflamingo. This news is massive, huge, and more worrying than Ace being Roger's son, as at least Roger is dead, and his son was set for execution, very weakened right now. But Luffy was here, alive, as was his father, but he himself as an individual was so terrifyingly charismatic that he was able to gather warlords under him and many criminals. His crew were turned to monsters by him. Like, he's just a big threat. The King of Curses, what a fitting name, Aokiji said, as he then stood and finally flew down because he was being lazy, right as Akainu then walks past him pissed. "You're getting too heated up. I don't have time for your fucking jokes. Don't come here, Luffy. That's enough. Leave," Ace yells. As Ace tries to make his brother get out of the spotlight, because obviously now this is something he didn't want to be revealed either, Garp is stuck between two sides, bringing him to tears. "I have my own adventures," said Ace. "I have my own friends. You should." Hearing this sound, he and Sengoku turn to see Luffy already beside Ace as he says, "I finally got the teleportation down. Whew. Straw Hat's reached him. He can teleport?" As Sengoku throws aside his transponder, he throws a punch that Rika would then catch and swing him away like a fly, while Luffy would then rip off Ace's cuff, saying, "You both know I don't care, just shut up already. You're ruining my rescue." As he grabs Ace, he would then see Garp stand and stare him down, with the hero then attacking and chasing them, while Luffy would then land down with Ace below, and Ace is then grabbed by Rika. "Get him to Whitebeard." With the nod, she then blasts off, with her asking in a distorted voice if Ace is okay, and as he passes by, Manny sees his friend smiles. It's just bringing him to tears, you know, and we will have a flashback to young Luffy and Ace talking over a cliff. "Hey Luffy, don't you ever feel like there's no reason to life? Where did that come from? Are you okay? Who told you that?" "Shut up and listen." "Sorry." Everyone talks like they hate my blood, like so much. I didn't choose this. I hate that bastard Roger. Oh, that's it? Who cares? They don't even know who you are. They're just scared idiots. The first time you met me, you thought I was just a whining little incompetent bitch. I mean, you are. Well, you're weird. See, I'm complex. Don't worry about it. I'm happy you're alive. Now I have a brother. 2 of them. Because of you. So thank you. These words have stayed with Ace from that moment, and it was as if it was the first time the easygoing Luffy had ever talked like this, and it was the only thing that he just couldn't help but remember during this war. Wiping his tears, he would then focus and look to Whitebeard and see Crocodile about to attack, and he then yells, "Rika!" In that instant, she appears catching the blow of the Warlord while dropping Ace, and her overwhelming bloodlust leaks sending chills down all their spines and anyone near. "If you hurt the old guy, then you hurt Ace," said Rika. "No one can hurt Ace because then Luffy will be mad at me." She smacks him away as he spews blood and he is left mangled, while she would then be left huffing with anger, and those who saw this realized why this creature was so feared. And getting up, Ace would then thank her. "I know it's annoying listening to someone else." She then fades back into her voice saying, "If it's Ace, it's okay for a while." She would then be gone right as Whitebeard would then fall to his knees and give a little hug to Ace. "Listen to me next time, you foolish son. Sorry, I just couldn't hold back." As they meet up by that point, all of this became null, but the fights look very intense right now. The war was still like raging, and 2 specific fights were awesome right now. Mihok versus Zorro, and Luffy versus Garp and Aokiji, because Akainu has been knocked away for now. And as for Mihawk, well, what happened to this man, he thought, with him then actually being pushed back by Zorro, and those seeing this were left wide-eyed. Zorro's 3-sword style had changed, but only Mihawk truly saw that it did. It became more of the embodiment of strength, and yet still kept the masterfulness and technique. But he was the #1 swordsman. He wasn't going down so easy, and pushed back, taking Zorro to his knees as the ice below him shatters. "You grown. I said I wouldn't lose again until we fought." Pushing back Mihawk and just pushing him off, he began to spin his swords as he closed his eyes, but Mihawk now took him seriously and wasn't just going to let him charge up. But for the first time that Zorro has ever felt so focused, so, like, focused on something, like this. It's as if time slowed down for him, and he thought, all this stuff around me, and I never even noticed. Damn, I feel stupid. Let's see how much I've grown. Opening his eyes, he blitzes Mihawk as he and the swordsman would then end up facing away from each other. Saizen Sekai. As he says this, a giant iceberg is then cleaved by Mihawk, while the same occurs with another massive iceberg done by Zorro, and Zorro's chest would then be cut open by a delayed cut. But then the same happens to a shocked Mihawk, and Zorro would smile. He got him? He actually hit Mihawk. As they both turn, the two would then have huge smiles as they swing, and a massive shockwave is released as they clash, but then Zorro's swords would shatter because he hadn't learned enough Haki to reinforce them. Damn, I guess I'm not there yet. Dropping the blade that he has in his mouth, he then points it forward, but Mihawk would then sheath his blade, walking past Zorro. Let's do this again when you get new blades. Why don't you feel wrong right now? You just can't let me have one way, can you, Mihawk? With a smile, the warlord would then say not to address him so casually. This is when Mihawk, around the time of this war, learnt about Kuma from Sentomaru, who rides with a bunch of pacifistas, and now we will cut to Luffy and Garp's fight, and Aokiji, but I don't really care. And Luffy will be dominating, even without Rika at his side. Rather than fighting though, he seemed to be actually testing his fighting skills, pushing back the two, and Garp would then coat his arm with Haki and blitz him with a punch that Luffy counters with a swing, while his blade is also filled with Haki, creating a dense orb of lightning and pure Haki. They weren't even touching, and Garp would say, "Bring her out, I don't need to. I already got you." As Garp lifts an eyebrow to this, sparks of Haki would then hit and injure him, ripping him up as he then jumps back, while a flash wave of ice then hits Luffy, but then he disappears and appears behind Aokiji, who he swings down at, and the man would then create giant ice lances to throw at Luffy, who then kept blocking and charging forward, and finally Akainu would then crash in after actually being preoccupied by Jozu, because, well, it's a war, people are just gonna fight randomly. But holding his hand, Luffy releases a shockwave of Haki, and the cameras that are capturing the war are cut off because it's just like too much. The admirals then get up seeing Luffy only get more and more tired. Well, they were fine and ready to attack him, and Garp didn't know how to feel about this, but Luffy then smiles, putting them on guard as he then takes out a ring. He puts it on, summoning Rika and recovering his cursed energy to the brim as he heals himself with reverse cursed energy. After mastering his powers in his past life, Yuta, as I've shown, or / Luffy, has learned to use all his copied abilities with no trouble or time limit, but now just because he releases Rika doesn't mean anything unless he actually puts the ring on. He can summon her without it on now, but when he actually brings her out and puts the ring on, that's why he becomes so powerful. But I barely even showed him putting the ring on. Now the admirals were going to learn the pinnacle of sorcery, Ryoiki Tenkai. He explodes with cursed energy as a giant curtain envelops them, with Ace then looking out and wondering what Luffy's doing. By now the Admiral stood on a completely different plane of a world. What is this place? Asked Akainu. Looking around, they saw modern-day Japan and stood in a park where they hear some voices and turned to see a young Luffy holding the hands of a young human Rika. Luffy? How do you look so young? Garp asked. And who is that child? Aokiji would ask, and she would say, Hi, I'm Rika. Oh, she's adorable now. What was this side of her? Rika would then pout say, You're in Luffy's domain now, so bye-bye, except for you, Grandpa. As she says this, before them then, except Garp, appear two people. Before Akainu appears a floating Takako, owner of the space warping technique, and before Aokiji appears Gojo. The presence of this being, the very feeling that they all get from Gojo specifically, make them shiver in their boots. As Gojo-sensei, Luffy said. I'm sick of this, Akainu yells, with them going to attack, but then he releases a massive magma wave when Takako would then hit the surface of the sky, cracking it and blowing away the magma until it reaches and sends internal damage to the Admiral. Aokiji meanwhile is lifted to the air by Gojo, who pulls off his blindfold to show his six eyes that are just so overwhelming to his senses, and the current age Luffy would then walk out of nowhere, fading into reality, now facing Garp. I didn't know about any of this, Garp said. It's the pinnacle of sorcery. Domain expansion. I've been keeping it a secret for a while. Aokiji then begins to scream as he's then sent flying. The domain will then shatter as they all begin to fall into the sea, but Garp will then move fast and kick off of Luffy, pushing him away, before then tackling the other two admirals to the ground safely without touching any sea. And this is when people notice the admirals are all messed up. What happened in there? We got what we're here for. Retreat, Whitebeard said. Luffy then begins to fly back with Rika as his crew then joins up and running below and after him. They already had different fights going on, but they were making their way over. They gained their prestige though. Zorro with him fighting and not failing to hurt Mihok and actually hurting him at all. Usopp now being feared as a man who can literally warp reality. Chopper being the monster who distracted you with his cute little nature and then pierced you with his horns the next moment. Robin, even without being protected now, became even more infamous as the people caught in her domain hadn't gotten up at all. This went for even admirals. Even when they're not beaten, they're left mumbling in a daze because it's just too much information. Brook started being called a lich, a representation of his ability to swarm the battlefield with undead with incredible strength. Frankie already being called General Frankie by this point for his decisiveness and his ability to create weapons from nowhere. Sanji and his explosions of Shikigami already get him a much better picture and poster. And when he started using his explosions, he went off and just got out a lot. And Nami, while her arsenal of tools were just so formidable that it was hard to believe, she was someone who kept saying she didn't like fighting while beating people's ass. And it was just a lot. They did a lot in that time. As they get to Whitebeard's ship, Boa would then wave to Luffy, who waves back thanking her. You know that chick? That's Boa Hancock, Ace says. Yeah, she gave us a right to come help you, Zoro said. Also, she has a thing for Luffy. She does? Luffy asked, but the pirates being left annoyed and envious of this little shit, who was simply confused because first off, he's not dense, but also he found it weird that Boa's 29 and he's 17. He thinks of her as a big sister, so that's kind of bizarre to him. Boa is actually 29. For those of you who don't know, she's not old, but nah. Slamming down his spear at this moment, Piper would then catch everyone's attention as they're celebrating, but then they stop and look to Luffy's group, and they get uneasy, but Jinbei would then come into the picture saying hello. I wasn't gonna throw them overboard, Jinbei. I'm well aware, it's just been a while. Yeah, boss Jinbei, how you been? Meeting up with their old friend, everyone, including the giant oars, walking beside them, welcomes them, and they leave the ruined battlefield. Luckily, citizens didn't see the outcome of the battle, allowing the Marines to save face, but this battle was undoubtedly won by the pirates, who cheer while the Strats, after being in this war, are a bit overwhelmed, especially Chopper and Nami, but Usopp surprisingly seem to be thriving. Hey, how'd you do that stuff, Longnose? I have a name, and it's my technique. Technique, eh? Whitebeard said, with him taking a seat, and he asked, Straw Hat Boy, how the hell did you create these monsters? Being called that by Whitebeard, Zoro said. What an honor. As Whitebeard laughs, Luffy then points to Ace, saying, if I had my haki before, then Ace would have gotten that technique too. I would have? The hell, man? Hey, I didn't have haki back then. Besides, you're strong enough. We literally just came back from me being captured. What do you want me to do about it? Give me a technique. I want to be stronger. I don't want to be a burden anymore. Now sounding a much more, serious version of himself, his voice showed no joking, and as he scratches his head, Luffy says, sure. Ace would then cheer and shake him back and forth, and Neva says, Straw Hat Boy, now everyone knows your identity. You're gonna need to be way more careful. Right, you're a dragon's kid, Marco said. Now that's a tough curse. Realizing again who they had on their ship, the combination of Roger's son and dragon is insane to the point that Whitebeard begins to laugh. Just this once, I'm gonna treat you to a party. Please and thank you, Luffy said, between them bowing while the crew then grabs him, telling him to stop being like proper and stuff, and they burst into laughter, saying that they've never seen a pirate bow like that. A party would then begin, allowing the musicians of each pirate crew to show their skills, and would have a time skip of 2 years. The waves crash violently upon each other, with darkened skies being shown on the new world. We see Sunny cruising through this freaky weather with ease as we get closer and closer, and we hear the sounds of laughter and the strats rocking back and forth to music as they get to their stations and do their jobs. Gather up all of the crew, it's time to ship our Banks' brews. Soon wind blows to where who knows the waves will be your guide. Or across the ocean's tide, rays of sunshine far and wide. Birds they sing of cheerful things in circles passing by. Bid farewell to Weaver's Town, say so long to Port Renown. Sing a song, it won't be long before we're casting off. Cross the golden silver seas, the salty spray puts us at ease. Day and night toward delight, the voyage never ends. Yo-ho-ho, 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 yo-ho-ho. Yo-ho-ho, 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 yo-ho-ho. As those 2 years have passed, a lot has happened. First off, the crew has switched up their drip. They've changed both a lot in mentality and strength. For a while, they had to wait for Rayleigh to coat their belt, and during this, Luffy got trained in hockey, which he picked up incredibly quick, so Rayleigh pounded all of his knowledge into him before he left. Especially Luffy's observation hockey is what he trained. It was very impressive, allowing him to accurately see moments into the future and also hear the voices of people from afar. Then they had to set sail, and their bounties increased as they went to Fishman Island early. The events go about the same, but with a little bit of the government trying to interfere. They leave and actually travel onto the places the others would have gone during their training time skip. They go to the island where Usopp would have trained. They go save someone else where Robin would have been put and mess with revolutionaries who listen to Luffy since he's Dragon's son, and now everyone knows that. And they also massively respect them for just killing Celestials. People actually love Luffy for that. Like, no person, not a single person cares that he killed them. No one cares. They were happy because from that day on, Luffy actually killed more of them. Any they met that was hostile was killed and had their slaves freed, and the government judged it as them no longer being safe to come out to sea because these niggas just keep getting themselves in horrible situations, and Luffy doesn't care about murking them. So he doesn't care. He actually declared that he would kill them again and again and again. So yeah, Frankie still gets to see Vegapunk's lab, and his technique benefits from it a lot. Nami learns about how to use curse energy more, and also earns a few more weapons that Luffy had to make a curse tool to hold, an inventory of sorts. By this time, we had just found them. She actually had 5 strong weapons with many effects, so that's how much she has right now. Chopper's technique would change a bit though, and I'll explain that later. And Brook, as he learns more about his fruit, he also gets his powers, his curse technique to be stronger. So he barely is even like going all out all the time, but like when he does, you will die. Like you could be Emperor level, but his power is just like, they're terrifying. Everyone has grown, like I said. Sanji and Ace would get bizarre twists in their technique. For one, Ace now has the powers of Jogo. Since he is the manifestation of the element, the curse that would have belonged to Jogo now belonged to him, but he didn't have a reverse curse technique. Yet, he did have everything else that the curse would have had though, including domain expansion, and he gained a bounty of 2 billion for his rise in strength and just who he is as a person of standing. Sanji, his technique has evolved. People didn't think it was going to be that strong. They were just a little bit worried about like his flames being a little strong, but like his Shikigami have gotten to the point where he can even knock out like Yonko level motherfuckers. It just takes a lot. I'll explain that later. And you know what Zorro was up to. Zorro, I don't even need to explain Zorro. Zorro has been trained by Luffy constantly. My man's is unrelenting in growth, so he has been growing. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. As for now, the Sharks were actually going back from revisiting Fishman Island just for fun. And Usopp asked, Luffy, what did Jinbei tell you? God, Usopp, 986 million as bounty. He's gonna join us, just not now. King of Curses / Straw Hat Luffy, 3.59 billion. Yo, Boss Jinbei sure is busy, huh? If not for Big Mom, he'd already be here. I'm surprised she hasn't pounced on us already, Robin said. Elbow Child, 800 million. The sleepy Zorro then simply said, he'll get here when he gets here. Orono Zorro, 1.30 billion. And then maybe he'll be more useful than you. Like Sanji, 1.30 billion as well. It's good to get riled up on such a beautiful day. General Frankie, 750 million. Who called this beautiful? Nami and Chopper shout as they were literally in a storm. Cat Burglar Nami, 600 million. Tony Chopper, or just his name, Tony. It sounds awesome, sounds gangster. 500 million. A loud ring at that moment is then heard from the inside, and Luffy will then say he'll get it as he goes inside and picks up their emergency transponder. And Sanji, who's been making lunch, then asks what's wrong. Well, he has just gone. You know what I'm trying to say. He went inside to make something. And Luffy then says, we're about to find out. Yes, it's Luffy here. Please, help me. We're being taken out. Sanji and Luffy then begin to listen more closely, and Robin will then walk in to hear the continued message that tells them to head for Punk Hazard, and the snow that mimics the cries of the man as he dies, and the call cuts out. I knew they were real samurai, Luffy said. Yes, if I'm not wrong, they come from Wano, Robin said, but it's incredibly cut off from the world, so... Running out, however, Luffy then looks at the wheel and yells for Frankie to just step on it. And Nami, take us to Punk Hazard. I don't even know where that is. Wait, give me the transponder. As she leaves to the balcony, Chopper will then ask if anything is wrong, and Luffy says they're gonna go help someone. So Nami uses the transponder to link them to where the frequency came from, and as they arrive, they see an island enveloped by flames, and taking to the mini-Mary, Zorro, Luffy, and Usopp and Robin go ahead using a path of clouds made by Nami. Have fun, Sanji yells. Don't spill the food. As Luffy waves goodbye, Robin will then hold up some sushi for him, and he takes a bite. It is delicious, as always. Robin will then hand him his bento while she began to eat from her own, and they will then soon reach the island. They finish their meal. They left Mini Mary at the shore and made it past the gate, designating this place as Punk Hazard. However, this place is seriously messed up, Usopp yells. It doesn't seem like this place was originally on fire, Robin said. It has to be that, Zorro said, as they reach a low cliff and look down, seeing melting houses and these ever like growing flames. They make their way down and start yelling for the man that they were here looking for until they find some melting bones of a giant. Another surprise at that moment then makes its way out in the form of a snarling dragon. Well, they actually exist, Usopp said. Cool. Who goes there? As they hear the voice of the dragon, they're left in silence and they all yell, "It can speak!" Opening its mouth wide at that moment, it would then release a violent blast of flames to the ground, when Usopp would then whisper something, and the attack would then change direction, crashing elsewhere. The confused dragon in the blink of an eye is then severed in half, with the four of them making their way forward as Zorro would then land way ahead. Man, it would have been kind of cool to tame a dragon, though, Luffy said. It felt manufactured, if anything, Robin said. Luffy then saying not to ruin the illusion, and with a chuckle she said sorry. He did that on purpose. Maybe. Meanwhile, the others are attacked by some gas people, but in this timeline, because of the incident that happened at Impel Down, Frankie made something to dispose of that stuff and sucked away the gas before he can knock them out. They would then leave Mary themselves, and now that they have cursed energy, one of them is able to leave behind a curtain. And while they go on a different way than the others, they find the others find half of a samurai, you know, the same ones as the original, Luffy and the others, and they find a frozen part of the island, and heading to the northeast of the island, the other group will find the entrance open, and there they meet Trafalgar and Smoker. And Frankie would yell, "Trafalgar, right?" Surprise Trafalgar would then say, "Straw Hats? Nice to meet you again." The G5 group, Smoker's group, turn to see the pirates, and Shigeki looks for Zorro, asking where he was, and Nami says, "Oh, he went with the others." "Anyway, this island is off limits, even the government men," says Smoker. "And it's off limits for you too," Frankie said. "Or unless you came here just for some scraps or something." He let off a look that made them get ready for a fight, extremely hostile, and now we return to the others as they're crossing a lake to the frozen side of the island, and we see Brownbeard with the Sandpower men watching from afar, hidden in the snow. "Boss, it's really him. I know, go alert Dr. Caesar." As his men run off, he will then hear a voice and turn to see Usopp sitting atop his back. "Hey man." All of Brownbeard's men stop, with the pirate then swinging his animal hide, and he would then throw Usopp off as the shooter would then land, bursting with cursed energy to reinforce himself before he then shot at, but then he dodges it while they run off. And he would then yell for them to wait. "I was just gonna ask what the hell is going on here." "Don't listen to him, it's a trap," yells Brownbeard, and Usopp would then scream that he's just being paranoid. Zorro's hand would then touch his shoulder at this moment, with Robin and Luffy making it to that land, and they would then say to just let them go. I don't blame them after all. I am God, Usopp. From here on out, things will change a bit. I mean, Usopp's annoying laugh, that ain't gonna change. The others still rescue the kids, like, you know, the other group. They do it after they get into the place, and they enter the lab, and yeah, it's just a lot. And there they meet the legs of Kiemon, and everything is just put back together. I don't know where I'm going with this. Okay, Kiemon, the other part that they found is just a leg. So the one that they put together is a face. There we go. I don't know. Punk Hazard is very warpy for me. It's really not like good on setting up what is going on. I read the manga, even that was confusing. Anyway, they find the kids and they put a curtain over the kids. They put them in an area, and then they all gather there. All the strats would gather over there. And Kiemon then said, "So this is a curtain. I feel warmer." Yeah, that's the condition. But in exchange, anyone can get in. So stay on guard, Chopper said. And everything would then be finished. He was actually checking on the kids, and the kids would say that the doctor was really cool. Luffy, meanwhile, is asking Kiemon what happened, and the man describes who did this to him. He explained the whole situation. Trafalgar, we met a few minutes back, Frankie said. Where is he? That pirate is going to pay. Before that, we need to let you know that he's very powerful. But also, can you tell us what's wrong with this place? Chopper asked. I've noticed it, but there's this toxin in the air. Kiemon gets more serious that he does not know himself, but those who captured him seem accustomed to being here, and the ruins indicated that it wasn't always like this. This is when the kids begin to actually cough, worrying everyone as they fall to the floor in pain. What's wrong with them? Zorro asked. They're exhibiting the same thing as withdrawal symptoms. Candy. We want candy. Chopper would then extract some of their blood and find out what it was, and it's a stimulant used to treat disease, but it's been twisted, and now it's more like an addictive drug. Can you get some for us? The giant Sadie asked, with everyone looking in on the horror of what is happening to her body, which is convulsing much like everyone else, but she's way ahead in development. And Luffy said, you can't have any more candy, Sadie. Clenching her fist, she begins to feel her pain grow until she throws a punch in rage, but it is then caught by Luffy, who exudes the conqueror spirit, and her eyes go blank as she falls. With that giant strength of hers, everyone could have been dead, Nami said. What? No, Sadie isn't a giant. She wasn't this big when we got here, a kid said. Yeah, none of us were. This is pissing me off, Nami said, with her almost losing her mind. Right as then, Luffy would release the Conqueror Spirit and knock out the other kids. Lord Momonosuke, I hope he hasn't suffered the same fate, Kiemon thought. How will the Straw Hat save these kids? Will Caesar, do anything? Is he man enough? Find out in the next part of One Piece between Prince over this, and this is where I'm ending it off. But I would have to apologize for, the last parts of this, what if. I really don't like Punk Hazard. It is a very confusing arc. I hate it. I don't hate Oda, but that arc was just confusing as hell. It was so hard to get everyone to meet back up again. I'm sorry about that. I hope you enjoy regardless. And yeah, this is where I'm ending it off. Peace. I'm gone.
You should fucking stay with him. Fucking stay with him.